Hi guys, it's Mrs. Glassy. I am here to teach you our very first lesson using not only my computer but also YouTube. And I'm excited because I think I'm going to get to possibly try to teach like the Khan Academy guy, where I can write you messages on the screen. So today we are going to start by just doing a quick review of the lessons you did for 6-1 and 6-2. And those we had done obviously mid-March when we were still in the classroom. So you should have them in your activity booklet. You can totally get them out and follow along if you want, but you don't have to. So I'm going to give you a quick rundown of all things fractions that we learned in the classroom for 6-1 and 6-2. So the first thing I want to talk to you about are unit fractions. A unit fraction, the word unit is the one that's going to help you remember this here. Unit is 1 part. So a unit fraction is anything that has 1 as its numerator, and however many people you're sharing it between becomes your denominator. I'm going to label that just with a D for now. So then this definition actually says a unit fraction represents 1 equal part of a whole. A unit fraction has a numerator of 1. The unit fraction 1 over d is one of d equal parts. So for example, I'm going to use this picture right over here, this rectangle shape, and we're going to pretend it's a pan of brownies. So if I were going to be sharing this pan of brownies with my family, let's say that there was 4 of us all together, that means that I would cut this brownie into 4 equal shares. Remember to always use your best judgment on my drawing. Definitely try to make that equal. And you're going to get 1 part of it. And how many pieces did I cut it into? 1, 2, 3, 4. So that means then that my denominator is 1/4. So everybody that were to eat a brownie would actually be getting 1/4 of the original pan of brownies that you started with. Okay? It goes back here to talk to you about exactly what a fraction is. And a fraction can be any different number, and it's just telling you how many parts you have out of the whole that you're discussing. So for example, we're going to talk about this as a piece of pizza, or excuse me, an entire pizza, and I will show you kind of what a fraction is by using that image. So let's say that your family orders a pizza, obviously for takeout, because we can't go to restaurants right now, and there are 6 of us all together, so we want to make sure that everybody can have at least 1 slice of pizza, okay? So that means then that my fractional part is going to be 1 slice. And how many pieces were the pizza cut into? It was cut into 6. So that means that each one of us eating a slice of pizza is going to have 1/6 of the original. Another way you can think about it is a sum of fractions. So let's say that this is actually, instead of being a pizza to share between your family, instead this time it's a personal pizza. So you get to eat it yourself. And let's say that you had this 1, 2, 3 slices of pizza. Well, that means then I had 1, 2, 3 slices of pizza, which means altogether I ate 3 of those slices of pizza. This 6 stands for, the slice size, and that's why it's a 6 down there, because my pizza was cut into 6 equal pieces. Another big vocab word to remember are actually these 2 right here, numerator and denominator. So just as a reminder for you guys, numerator is your number of unit fractions. It's how many parts of the whole. And then the denominator is how many parts in total. Okay? So if we look down here at the next page that I want to show you, I want to remind you guys that this is something, again, that we saw in the classroom, but I'm going to use it to describe just a couple of things here. And the first one I want to describe is this adding unit fractions, which I kind of just did on that other page. So each and every one of these bars is actually showing you 1 whole. It's just split into different pieces. So for example, this one doesn't have a fractional part. It's just a whole number, and that would be 1. But if we look over here, this one is showing you that you have 2 halves. So 2 halves and 3/3 and 4/4 and so on all equal 1 whole. But in this bar right here, it's showing me a half plus a half is going to equal 2 halves, or also 1 whole. In this green bar, it says 1/3 plus 1/3 plus 1/3 is equal to 3/3, or also a whole. Okay? So if we were to actually look at these, and let's say that I took 2/3 and I was going to add it to 1/3, when we add fractions, our denominator is not going to change. The reason our denominator doesn't change is because it's telling you the size of your share. So if I'm talking about a Snickers bar, and I ate 2/3 of the Snickers bar for dessert one day, and then I ate the other 1/3 of the Snickers bar the next day, I've still eaten one whole entire Snickers bar. I just split it up into smaller pieces. Okay? So then let me get rid of part of this. And now let me show you something a little bit different here. So this time I want to talk to you about equivalent fractions. If you'll remember, equivalent fractions are those things that show you fractions that mean the same thing. So I'm going to draw a bar right down the middle, and I want to show you, I'm going to slide it a little bit off to the side, but I want to show you that I was trying to cover up this number 1/3, because here's what I want to show you. If I were to follow the size of 1/3, I can see which other fractions also equal 1/3. So do you see here how your 1/4 you can't split up? That means that no number of fourths will be equal to 1/3. Same thing is true for fifths. I have no number of fifths that will equal 1/3. But if I come down here to sixths, if I were to just move this line over a little bit, do you see how that black line meets up with that black line? That then means that 1/3 is the exact same as 2/6. So if I keep carrying this line down, sevenths isn't going to work. Eighths doesn't work, although it's close. But then check down here for ninths. That means then that my 1/3 is also equal to 3/9. And then if I keep coming down, it is also equal to 4/12. So something kind of cool to see here is what's going on with your numerators and your denominators. So let me write out all the ones we just found. And I think you're going to see a pattern there. Again, we talked about this in class, so you may remember. Notice how much each of these is going up by. They are each going up by 1. And then check these out. These are each going up by 3. Well, what was our original fraction? 1/3. So that would be where your 1 is, and that would be where your 3 is. The coolest thing about equivalent fractions, they're actually pretty easy to find. If you were to take a fraction like 1/7 and I were to ask you to find an equivalent fraction, you could multiply anything by the top. So let's just say we multiplied it by 5. Whatever you do to the top, you just also have to do to the bottom. So what's 1 times 5? 5. And 7 times 5 is 35. So that means then that 5/35 is equivalent to 1/7. Okay? All right. Well, I think I have just maybe one more. I had one more page that I want to go over with you. Nope, I lied too. But this one's pretty easy. We talked about this the other day. This one is just showing you that you've got one hole here with your number of fourths, but only 3 of them have been shaded. So that's what this little number sentence right here is showing you. I guess I'll go ahead and circle that. They're showing you that 3/4 is the same as adding 1/4 and 1/4 and 1/4, and that it is also the same as finding 3 1/4. So that's 3 times 1/4. So here you've got 1, 2, 3, and you can either have 3 times 1/4, or you can have 1/4 plus 1/4 plus 1/4. Okay? Same is true over here for 3/8. I'm going to switch this to a highlighter, and they told us to look at 3/8. So I'm going to highlight 3/8, and then let's talk about what that means. 3/8 would be the same if I added 1/8 3 times. That means the same thing. It would also equal the same thing if I told you that I had 1, 2, 3 of those 1/8 shares. So 3 times 1/8 is also 3/8. And then finally, again, I'm looking at another of these fraction strip examples, but I want to talk to you a little bit about how to compare them. So one of the coolest things about fractions, especially when we're talking about fractions that have 1 as a numerator, they're pretty easy to compare if you look at their denominators. So I'm looking at number 11 here, and it's showing me 1/6 and 1/8. So when I think about comparing these, what I want to imagine is food, because food is always easier to compare. So this would mean, let's say again, let's share cupcakes this time. So let's say that I was going to get to eat 1/6 of a cupcake or 1/8 of a cupcake. You have to imagine how many people that is you're sharing with. So in this instance, how many people am I sharing that cupcake with? There will be 6 people eating that cupcake altogether. Whereas in this scenario, there will be 8 people eating that cupcake altogether. Well, in which case am I going to get to eat more cupcake? The one where I am sharing with less people. So we actually say here, the smaller your denominator, the smaller your denominator, the greater your share. That's what I was looking for. Okay. So if I'm going to be sharing with less people, that means that I will end up having more. So that makes the rest of these pretty easy. In 1/5 or 1/3, if I share with 1/3 or share with fewer people, I'm going to get more. So that means that my greater symbol eats the bigger number. 10ths and 12ths, same deal. I want to share with less people. 1/4 is going to be sharing with less people than 1/7. We've got 9ths, and then again with 9ths. So no matter what happens, you want to be sharing with less people, and you're going to end up having a larger share. The last thing I'm going to show you for today is just a normal thing that we did in the classroom anyway, and this is the way that these YouTube videos are going to work. I will always end with an example, or rather a page showing you what it is that I want you to do for work after you watched the video. For today, I don't actually have you doing much extra work unless you didn't finish this stuff already in class. So the first one says to look over your SAB pages, see if you finished everything up for 6-1 and 6-2. Then it says to go back and look at your homework and remembering pages for 6-1 and 6-2. Or you could always go look at some fractions in IXL work and see if there's any other lessons you could do to help you practice. But otherwise, this is just kind of an example of what you will see after we do a brand new lesson, which will be the next video. The next video you should watch is the one on 6-3, but only when you're ready for it. And always, whenever you start a video, make sure you've got your SAB nearby, your HWR nearby, and at least a pencil and something to write on. Maybe some scratch paper off to the side would be a good idea. All right, thanks for watching. Hit that subscribe button.